Howdy ho, people. Welcome to my show. I have a really special show today. There's a friend of mine that I've met not so long ago. His name is Arnaud Gotanegre, and he's a forest engineer. He's been working with wildlife conservation and protection of animals in Africa. He's worked with the pygmies in the Congo. Today's show was all over the place. We talked about dinosaurs in the Congo. We talked about vaccinations in Africa. I'm going to have him on for sure again. It was a short show. Next time we have more time. He has plenty more stories to share. But today, as a small introduction, Arnaud Gotanegre. We're live.
Yeah, let's go.
Hello, Arnaud.
Hi.
How are you?
Pedro. I'm okay.
Enjoy lunch.
Yeah, it was a nice dinner. Thanks.
Just pull that a little bit closer to you.
Okay. Like
That's
this?
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
It makes
dinner.
the voice sound deep and smooth.
Why not?
For everybody who's going to possibly listen to this, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Arnaud Gotanegre. I'm French and Belgium. Living in Portugal since 9 years. I have a daughter here. And I'm working in Africa mainly to protect wildlife and forest.
Yeah. The Africa, the Belgian Congo you were talking about, Cameroon, Senegal.
Yeah.
This sort of... So the probably the most problematic part of Africa.
Yes,
today.
I was mainly in French-speaking countries.
Yeah.
And as you said, West and Central Africa countries are really in troubles today, and due to several situations. They are not all the same.
Okay.
But it's due to of their natural resources.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for mines, wood, and fish, whatever.
Yeah. Still a lot of mining like gold.
Yeah, gold,
Diamonds.
coltan and casseterite for our telephone. You know, all our cell phones and all the computer today needs those
Lithium for the batteries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what is really nonsense that those mining are mainly protected by rebels, or they are mainly located in national parks or reserve.
So their corruption is allowing them to be there. It's not like they're hidden.
Yeah, the corruption is really high, and it's not even states that are involved. It's also a direct business company like Samsung.
Corporations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you can remember, when Sony wanted to sell his Game Boy or whatever, I don't remember, for some years ago, and they couldn't get the minerals from Congo due to the war. Then they have to wait to sell the games, and all our Occidental youths were crazy to wait because there were actually a war in Congo. Then they couldn't get the minerals.
That's crazy.
It is
crazy. What sort of projects have you worked on there?
Well, several type of projects, but mainly focus on protecting the natural resources. Also, I have worked on food security, on community development, on governances and gender, and child soldiers.
Child soldiers.
Yeah, in 2008.
What is that like? I have the very Westerner, very distant movie image of what child soldiers. What?
Actually, have you seen Blood Diamond?
Yeah, Blood Diamond.
It's worse than the movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's really worse than...
And it's something that happens actively.
Yeah, and still today.
Still a lot.
Yeah, you still have some protected areas, even in Congo. The ranger are used to see some child soldiers that are just moving away from their groups because they are fed up, you know? But they have seen so many, and they have done so many strange things in their life. In 2008, just for an idea, I've been in Bunia. It's a city northwest of Congo, and it was 150 rapes a day declared.
Declared,
yeah. And they are using rapes as a weapon,
Yeah.
So, and those children are living that. And they are sexually abused and whatever,
And then they're given drugs to be out of their mind and not even know what they're doing.
And they are killing, sometimes to be recruited, they have to kill their family, their relatives,
Yeah.
And they are really kidnapped from their village.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
It's crazy. In North Uganda, at Kigdum, it's a city that during more than 15 years, because of the LRA, is a Lord Revolutionary Army from North Uganda. They think that Lord is going to help them to remove the president, Museveni. And though they have made war for more than 25 years. And in this city, each day, the child from the neighboring village had to come in the center of the city, to hide themselves and to be protected. And then only the morning they only can come back in their village. So no education, no crops working, nothing, you know. So it's a generation that is lost.
Yeah, we should say you work with an NGO.
Yeah,
right?
at this time it was a coalition of NGO that work on this topic, and they were in DRC, North Uganda, and Burundi.
Okay. Tell me something. I have a very ignorant view of what NGOs are because I had some really bad experiences.
Me too.
So, for one, we were in... the first time that I really got shocked was in Australia. And one of our roommates was working for the Red Cross. And his job was to go rural towns to get donations for the Red Cross, of which 50% of the donation was for him, 40-odd% was for his boss, and maybe 1% might go somewhere that nobody knows.
And nobody knows. Yeah.
And this is the Red Cross.
Yeah.
This is not,
exactly
backyard Scientology association.
Yeah. That's true. And about the Red Cross, I've worked also for them, in Africa.
Yeah.
And they have this kind of national branch, which is more or less linked to the main corporate Red Cross, and all of them are independent.
Yeah.
And of course, everything is made by human. You have corruption. You have whatever.
Well, it was the first time that I looked at a charity and I went, "Oh, okay, this is a business. This is a business.
This is a business, definitely."
And if at the end of the day they can try and help a little bit, they call themselves a charity, but it's still a business.
Definitely
run like a business, profit in mind. People want to get paid. They have rent to pay.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. I've worked... My worst case is with WWF, for instance.
Yeah.
They are a very famous NGO working on wildlife and so on. But on the field, they are doing nothing. And I was working for them in Central Africa. I was leading the anti-poaching unit. And we had to face a lot of poachers, corruption, and diamond trafficking. And they let me alone. They didn't support me, At the end, I had to fly from the country because someone wanted to kill me because I was stopping the diamond traffic,
Yeah.
And at the end, they even tried to say that it was me who made the trouble. So I went to the tribunal in Central Africa and I win.
Wow.
We are only 5 in Africa who win against the WWF,
Yeah.
And actually the national director of WWF in Central Africa, because the tribunal said that I was right, so they had to pay me, compensation. And the national director of WWF has kept 10,000 euros from my money,
Wow.
You imagine? Yeah. So yes, it's really business. And when you are looking even for EU project, European project in Africa, most of the time, 60 or 70% of the budget for the project that should go to help the people there are returning in Europe.
Yeah.
You pay the expert, you pay the computer, you pay the car, you pay whatever. And it's only in Europe that you are allowed to buy those things. So it's a kind of co-development. It's not to help them to be developed. It's also for us to give back the money.
Yeah.
And today, when you see the level of money that are sent in Africa for the development through AU, World Bank, or whatever bilateral cooperation, it's the same amount of money that the Africans overseas are sending back in Africa for their family.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of money. We are thinking to send...
Crazy.
We should send 0.7% of our gross GDP for development in Africa. Is what we have signed as an international agreement. And we are not at this level. And the African by themselves can send back the same amount.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, I also get scared of foreign participation in Africa because I see what China's doing. And China's participating. They're sending a lot of money. They're saying, here, we're your friends. We're going to build hospitals. Sorry. We're going to build roads. We're going to build, schools. And it'll be great. And you'll just be Chinese.
Yeah. And give me your fish.
Yeah,
give me
your fish, your meat, your women, your children, your clothes.
Exactly.
We'll leave the men. They can work.
But give me your soul. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
So that's scary.
But in a way, both Africans are not so keen with the Chinese. They are more open with us because of our historical path together. But I've seen, in Cameroon that even Chinese prostitutes were fighting with Cameroonian prostitutes because they were taking less money than the Cameroonian. And so they are everywhere. Wow. They even do the small cakes that the ladies are selling to the street.
Yeah.
But also in the village, when you are a father and you want to buy, new clothes or send your child to school or buy a motorcycle, thanks to the Chinese now it's more easy for them to have this kind of goods because from Europe is definitely too expensive.
We don't manufacture.
Anymore.
And anything we do manufacture is way too expensive for them.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
This was the other thing that I noticed. This in Madagascar is by far one of the poorest countries I've been to.
Yeah.
It's weird because it doesn't feel that way because how rich the country is of natural abundance, of plant life, of animal life. It's crazy. But in terms of wealth of the population, it's really down there.
Yeah.
And our job there, we were traveling a lot. We're going through a lot of different little places, and you see former work of missionaries, NGOs, and what really shook me was you have schools everywhere. They've built schools in the jungles, in the mountains. There's schools everywhere, but they're empty.
Yeah.
And I always remember from a kid, they're raising money here at school. We're going to build a school in Africa. We're going to help out the kids with building this school. And now I think, they never needed the school. They needed the education. We're building the wrong thing.
Yeah, actually, you are saying the right things. If you build a school, you have to think about the teacher, the books, and to keep the teacher there for several years.
And the students have to be able to get to school, which is the biggest problem. Most of them, it's more dangerous to go to school than it is to go fishing.
Exactly.
They're not going to risk it.
Exactly.
And going fishing, you have food at the end of the day. Going to school,
nothing. Yeah. And this is in Madagascar and in other Muslim countries. They cannot go in normal school. They are going to the Muslim schools instead. You know? So it's not also a way to educate them.
But so all of this to get back to the NGO. There are good NGOs as well.
I believe. But I believe there are a few. And mainly is when you have a dedicated person at the end, at the top level, who really want to change and do impact. I believe it's my NGO today because it's really made by a passionate man about chimpanzee, and he's the only boss, and really he's really passionate about that, and he's trying his best. And
what are you doing with chimpanzees?
We are trying to protect them today in Guinea, but also in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Ivory Coast. We are creating new national parks to protect them inside, and also to stop the traffic about the baby chimps. We are working for that with the national authorities, but also with Interpol, with CITES, and other sanctuaries who are taking care about those chimps when they are catched from poachers.
Okay, poachers are after the chimps as well.
They are selling the baby chimps
for zoos or for private collectors or alive.
Yeah, and when you have a baby chimps from the on the hand of the poachers, in average, he has to kill 10 chimps
to get one.
Yeah, because all the family will protect the baby. So he will have to kill all of them to take just one. And now today, you can have a baby chimps on the black market for $25,000, mainly for Arabic country.
That's crazy.
Yeah, also Georgia and Armenia, Albania.
Why? Do oligarchs, with billionaires with too much money in private zoos, or?
Yeah, it's just for pets. They like to have a baby chimps, but a baby chimp is going to grow. And at 7, the chimp is bigger and stronger than you. And then you have to put it in cage. Yeah. You cannot manage anymore,
You can't grow with a grown chimp. It can't be loose. It becomes dangerous.
Yeah. It's like a human. So when they get a teenager, they will do the same.
They become difficult.
Yeah, and they have three way your own strength. So as a teenager, so if they want to smash you, they will do it hard.
Crazy.
And they are really smart. And the chimps are really smart. I've seen chimps doing the same behavior as us. Making war. They are jealous. They're making coalitions.
Yeah. I saw the study where they introduced the concept of money to the chimps, and the first thing that they did was pay for sex.
I can imagine.
I think it was the biologist was saying it was something to do with the male being the provider, and when you provide the value, the female with something of value, that's the exchange. That's what they want is sex. Yeah. And that was the first thing. As soon as money was in the equation, like, here you go.
It's exactly like us, And you have a difference between bonobo and chimps. They are all together. They are related, but the chimps are more male. The power is for the male, and they are leading the groups. And in the bonobo, south of the Congo River, is the women who are leading the groups, and they are more using sex and this social interaction to avoid any troubles. But they are violent too. But they are more, social, more sex friendly than the chimps. And when we try to reintroduce chimps in the wild, when we got back from the poacher, we make new groups and we try to reintroduce them in the wild. Yeah. The male, most of the time, are killed by the savage chimps, but the females can survive. And most of the times, the female will survive because they know how to deal with this savage male. So it's easier to be a female in the wild.
Isn't that true? It's so simple. They know what we want.
Exactly.
It's cheating. Well,
I have seen once a female leading a group just because when the chimps want to give birth, they have this vagina that is growing, and she was, I don't know how, but she was able to keep this vagina big, all the time. So all the male from the group was just crazy because they look at that all the time, and she was able to manage the group like this, just by sex. Yeah. Really smart.
Smart chimp. Smart chimp.
Yeah, smart apes. We are the same.
No, we're the dumb ones. We're the males. We're the ones who get tricked.
And actually, we are the weakest. When you see a gorilla, a chimp, a bonobo, they are stronger than us. We are really the weakest apes in this world. Yeah,
it's crazy. We really did evolve around our brain. Our brain is our savior. Without that, we're pretty useless in every environment.
Exactly.
I can't think of one predator that would that we would be problematic for without our brain, without being able to think and ration and come up with a plan and join many humans together and fight this, with a plan, with an angle. Just one-on-one, claws and scratching.
Nowhere.
I think the ants would beat us.
Yes, I've seen. In Africa we have these small trees that is growing in the tropical forest, and we call them the Adultery Tree, because it is growing in coevolution with a species of ant, and this ant is really harmful. And during the past, they were used to tie the adulterary woman on the tree.
The the women who committed adultery, they tie her to the tree
to be eaten by the ants, you know. And when you are botanic, you know, you learn trees in Africa. It's the very first tree that
one, the adulterer's tree.
Yeah, because when you are bite once, you know you won't forget. You know?
Wow, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad, you know. And on my right hand, I have a scar that I kept my hand falling on the machete, and the pygmy used the hand to sew my hand. You know?
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen it on TV. They use the pincers of the ant, and it sort of swells up, right?
Exactly.
And it closes the wound.
Yeah. You see? So,
all this. I can see it. Yeah, that's a big line.
Yeah.
You fell on the machete.
Yeah, because of the water, and I was trying to climb a river, and I fall on the machete. It's really bad, and really they did it so perfectly.
Wow, you've told me a little bit that you've worked with the pygmies. Tell me about that. Tell me how did that?
It's just amazing, you know. When you are thinking about the Hobbit, it's the same.
It is.
Yeah,
just naked bush people.
Exactly, and small, you know.
Small,
really small. Well, now you have a lot of mixture with Bantu
crossbreeding.
Yeah, crossbreeding, but
with who? Sorry,
the Bantu. The Bantu is the other African, you know. Okay. We call them the Bantu.
Okay,
and but still, you still have some real pygmies that are nomads. And they know the forest as nobody else, you know. It's amazing how they can even see a bee in the middle of the jungle and follow the bees and find the hole and go and climb 50 meters, you know, without rope, anything, and just eat the money, enjoy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and they have a really a typical music, a polyphony music, especially with the women.
Yeah,
and also they are using iboga to. For the gods, there are several types of gods depending on the moon, and they are really close to nature.
Wow! Are there still several pygmy communities? Are there different tribes, different regions?
Yeah.
And are they genetically similar? So
they are genetically similar.
Okay,
but you have several types of pygmies from Gabon to Burundi. And each time, more or less, is because of a river that have spread the community.
It separates them.
Yeah. But they have different cultures, like chimpanzee. Chimpanzee in West Africa are using different type of tools than chimpanzee in Central Africa. You know, it's the same for the pygmies. I don't want to compare chimpanzee to pygmies, but just a river make the difference. You know?
Yes, pygmies, not chimps. Not the same thing.
No. They are human, real one.
How do you communicate with them? Do they have translators?
Actually, they are used to speak the national languages.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because of the modernity, most of the pygmies have a village nearby the road, and most of the pygmies have a Bantu. You know, they have a kind of a tutor. So they are all the time linked to the modernity community, and they are living nearby, so they can communicate. But they don't know the value about the money. They don't know the value about the goods they are buying for. You know.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I've seen that they are buying stuff 10 times the price that
it should be.
Yeah, it should be, because everybody tricks them. You know.
They don't know. Everybody knows that the pygmies don't understand money.
Exactly. And most of the time, when a poacher wants to kill an elephant, he just gives the gun to the pygmy and ask her to kill the elephants, and he will receive a few money or a few goods, a rope or whatever. You know, it's still like in the 2-3 centuries ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the pygmies, it's just part of life for them, right? They don't understand conservation, or that you're trying to preserve the planet, or...
Well, actually, they understand, really. When I was in Central Africa, they were really concerned about the Blood Road, as they called. It was
Blood Road?
Yeah, because we had 2 national parks, and between the 2 national parks, it was a communitary hunting zone. But it was less well managed, and the poacher killed so many animals there, and the pygmies couldn't go and hunt anymore. You know, So they were really concerned about the level of poaching.
Yeah.
And
they'll get concerned when the ecosystem around them starts to suffer and their ways of life have to change, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they really notice that.
Well, yeah. And how integrated are they nowadays in
They are not really. I don't think that they want to be integrated. They are all the time around the Bantu village. They are interacting, but they like to have their own style of life. So they have this village nearby the road, but most of the time they go to the forest and they have another village there, or they go to walk, or they go to special river, or they go to. They have a lot of activities in the forest, and it was really difficult when I was I had to organize missions on the patrol missions or doing surveys for biomonitoring and so on. To have those pygmies around, because they can say yes today, but tomorrow they are gone, because they want to go to the honey or to fish or whatever,
They're not worried about you.
No.
They're worried about your schedule.
Yeah. And they don't care about your money,
Yeah.
And what it was really amazing is the women are really strong, and if the women say no to a man, he won't go,
Wow.
And also when they gave birth, they wait almost 1 year to have another time sex with their husband.
Really?
Yeah, just to make sure that they can breathe and they can take about the baby.
Oh, they can breed again.
Yeah.
They can have children again.
Yeah. So the husband at this time is allowed to go where he wants to. But what was really sad as well is it was about 10 years ago, something like that. Mainly in Cameroon, I've heard that in North Congo as well. It was a kind of a game for the Bantu to have sex with a pygmy woman. And then they sprayed HIV through the pygmies, because before there was no HIV.
HIV?
HIV, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just because they liked
so they started raping them, or?
No, it was a kind of prostitution,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. And how are they in terms of, are there a lot of them? Or are they dwindling, like they're disappearing?
Yeah, they are disappearing.
The culture's being lost.
Yeah, more and more, and especially in some countries is quite okay, because the NGOs around national parks are taking care of them. In Central Africa, there was a musicologue from US that were living with them for more than 30 years. His name is Louis Sarno. But he died 3 years ago, and he was really taking care of them, But that's not happening.
You can pull this closer if you want. Okay, you can adjust it. That's it.
Thank you. That's not happening in many countries,
Yeah.
In Rwanda or Burundi, for instance, or even in Congo, nobody take care of them,
Yeah.
And their culture are really disappearing. I have met French people, or. He was a French, he's still a French, but he was paying a guy to steal the tribal mask of the pygmies on the eastern...
Seriously?
Yeah, on the eastern part of Congo. And he's a lawyer, he's rich, he's living in France, he has a wife from Senegal, he's supposed to be, supporting the African people. No, he was stealing their culture,
Yeah.
And no, it's a shame. A lot of action is going like that still in Africa.
And what do you guys do, and what can you do to try and protect them? Because it seems that they're also nomadic and not so concerned with your agenda, that even if you did try and come up with a plan, that they just might leave.
Yeah, but the main thing is to take care about their forest.
Yeah.
And to allow them to continue to live like they like to live, So that means that they should find antelopes in the forest, they should still find fish, and they still should find forest. So when you take care about that, at the minimum is good. And after that you can bring, a kind of dispensary, you can take care about their health, and so on. Yeah. But for teaching them education, they don't care,
Yeah. And in terms of, I've always been curious with this, of the preservation of a nomadic culture, because I've always been fascinated with the American Indians and how we basically have nothing left.
Yeah.
Nothing. because they were nomadic people. They didn't build temples. They did south in Mexico. The Aztecs, the Mayans, the Olmecs. They all built. But the Plains Indians, the ones who were these nomadic people, lived off of the animals in the wild. We have no record of them.
No, nothing.
We have no record of, very faulty records. They're not necessarily trustworthy. They were written in a time where they were red-faced savages that you'd scalp.
No, that's true.
And so that's the part that often worries me when I see these cultures that we still do have, but each day that passes is another memory that's lost of theirs.
And especially in Africa, because there is a few things that is written.
Yeah.
So it's really
exactly.
If when an old man is dying or old woman, you lost a lot of history.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's important empirical knowledge. Like this tree that gives dates. Let's say, like the date tree that takes 80 years to mature, has to be planted on the right moon of the right equinox of whatever, or it won't give fruit. I'm using a silly example because I'm ignorant, but
it's somewhat true.
Exactly. But this is the sort of knowledge that they do have, and the amount of things that are lost that we're claiming to be regaining through science, but
it's not true.
You can't work through science thousands of years of human experience in 100 years.
But actually, and I totally agree with you, and some of the scientists who are working with apes are saying that human is the only apes that are not learning from generation to generation. We have to learn again each generation again.
Yeah.
And we are losing a lot of things like this,
Yeah.
Even after the Middle Age, we lost all the Roman and Greek knowledge.
Yeah.
And we had to rediscover after 1,000 years.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, an engineer, who was talking about cement. Cement. We couldn't, for 1,000 years, we forgot how to make cement. And it's not like the Romans are badly documented. No. We know a lot about them. Yeah. We're direct descendants from them, It's not like they came in and burned our libraries.
Exactly.
We still have their books. We still know their authors. We know the people who were in the civilization, But at
this time, the religion, the Catholicism, didn't allow us to have this knowledge back.
Yeah.
And really, religion had a kind of a shadow impact on our development.
Yeah.
And today is the same, more or less, with the Muslims,
Yeah. There's, Stephen Fry?
No.
Stephen Fry is an English host, a TV host, presenter. He's a brilliant guy. Really, really smart. And he did, I'm not sure, it was some sort of talk, and where he pointed out all religion is bad. All of it. There's no, indoctrination is bad.
Yeah.
There should not, that people shouldn't have the right to believe in the witch doctor in the tree, full liberty.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be, culture. It shouldn't be indoctrinated, and it shouldn't be. The way our religions exist today is because of horrible things that have been done for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And then, you think of a lot of the difficulties that our civilization is having nowadays in society, and you start to think, okay, how many of those are related? How many of these? Yeah.
A lot, actually. A lot.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. And it's a bit strange because when you are talking about religion, you are talking about something that is not real. But I start to become more and more dedicated to the divine when I learn more and more the science. When I see how it's perfect, how cells can walk and do photosynthesis, how this mitochondria is coming inside cells and whatever. And even when you are in the wild, in the middle of the forest, and you see all this interaction, you believe on something. There is a power, but I really don't believe on something that made by human,
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And my rangers were used to say to me, "Oh, because of you, we cannot go to pray on the church," and so on. I say, God is everywhere. You want to pray here.
Exactly.
You don't have to go to church.
Yeah. I love Buddhist philosophy. And that's always been my biggest argument, is meditation has nothing to do with Buddhism. Absolutely nothing. You have discovered in Buddhism some really good techniques to do it. But to say that one belongs to the other is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I've been meditating since I was
a kid. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
just breathing.
Yeah. That's
I figured that out by myself.
Yeah.
I'd get annoyed and I need to think about my breathing. And that was it, you know. And then years later, they're like, "Oh, you're meditating. You should study Buddhism." And you're a Buddhist. Like, no, I'm actually a human.
Yeah, exactly. But this breathing process is something that is really not natural for us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 42 today, and I can say that it's only since 4 years that I know that I was not breathing correctly.
Yeah.
And it's only now that I'm learning how to breathe, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a sportsman. I love to do sports, but I never noticed that I was not breathing good, you know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the same thing. I used to weigh a lot. I lost a lot of weight when I was about 25. And I had asthma, really bad asthma. And that's more or less the time when I started to lose weight that I started to work out with my friend David, who's a spear fisherman. And we started doing free diving training.
Wow.
In a swimming pool at the gym, really controlled, just easy stuff. Breath work. That's it. Every day. Breath work.
Wow.
Every day. You know, and at first I just noticed that I felt good. It took a few months to then really go, what have I been doing all my life?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This is crazy.
Exactly.
How did nobody teach me in school that you should breathe?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
And it's what I'm trying to teach to my daughter. She's 6, and you know, we are all scared, you know, and I'm still scared about things. So the only way to overcome the stress, breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to pass this knowledge to her, and she will find also a way, because we are all different, so we have all this difference. But really, I think that breathing is vital, you know.
Clearly.
Yeah. When I start boxing, you know, I went to Thailand to start boxing, Thai box. At the beginning, the first weeks, I was so exhausted. I couldn't understand, you know.
Yeah.
And then the guys taught me how to breathe, how to recover, and so on and so forth. And the things were moving. After 1 minute, I can go forward, and then after 2 minutes, I can go forward. Before, after 30 seconds of fight, I was dead, you know.
Yeah, and it's not the muscles.
Yeah, it's not the
oxygen.
That's it.
Yeah, but this is the same thing in the ocean. You know, you've noticed me telling you countless times there. It's breathe, breathe. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no secret. You don't have to be, you know, a top athlete.
Exactly.
It's breathe.
Exactly.
Keep that under control.
And I noticed that, you know, in the ocean, you know, because it's scaring me still, you know, I'm not used to. And really, last time when I was diving, I was thinking about that, you know, we continue to breathe quietly, and everything went okay. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I want to come back to something here. The Congo.
Yeah.
The rainforest in the Congo is some of the craziest rainforests in the world, right? I've heard.
Yeah, definitely.
How come it's not like the Amazon? Everybody knows about the Amazon.
Well, because the Amazon is the biggest one.
Yeah.
But in the 3 tropical continents, you have a forest. So the Congo Basin is the second largest in the world. It's massive. Yeah. And it's really wet, humid. And the Congo River is also a big river like the Amazon.
It's one of the most preserved unintentionally just because of its unstable area. You know, Brazil is being raped.
Exactly. It's really difficult to reach this forest in Congo because in Congo you had now 25 years of war. It's a place that is really insecure, so nobody, even for a logging company, it's just water there. You cannot drop, even a machine. It's really difficult to log, but you still have some place that you can log. And actually, the deforestation is more coming from the eastern part. You have Uganda, Rwanda, mainly, that are eating the natural resources in Congo. They are part of the raping of Congo because they were part of the war of Congo. They are linked to US and UK that were a bit supporting the Tutsi in Rwanda and so on. And so Rwanda today is the first exporter of cassette for the telephone, but you don't have it in the country. And it's the first exporter in the world. And everybody knows that, but they are stealing that from Congo. The same for diamond, the same for wood, So you really see the deforestation coming from the east.
And the deforestation is for mines or for wood, for logging?
Both, but as they are using a lot of charcoal to cook, to heat or whatever, they need they need wood, a lot of wood.
Yeah,
they don't have gas there, so they are cutting wood, making charcoal, selling that. It's a big market, even in the national park of Virunga. More than 15 years ago, I think, one of the director had sold a piece of the forest to make charcoal, to sell that to the people that have escaped Rwanda because of the genocide. So they wanted to cut the forest of the national park, and they have killed actually gorillas, rare species of gorillas, to be able to do the charcoal. Just money.
Yeah.
Money.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All the refugees were stuck at Goma, more than 2
The Rwandan?
Yeah. More than 2 million of them, and which used huge level of cholera.
Yeah.
It was really a bad moment.
Oh, 2 million refugees.
Yeah.
Sanitation.
Forget it.
Yeah. They don't have sanitation in there where they used to live, let alone when they're in refugee camps on the run from getting their head cut off.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that, the war starts.
Yeah.
In Congo, you had more than 8 countries in Africa that were involved in the war. So it's the first international war in Africa. And you have also this private company that were paying rebels. Us, we were there too. It's funny, when you go in Rwanda, some countries doesn't need visa to go there.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the country that have supported the Rwandans during the war,
The genocide.
Yeah, not during the genocide, but after that, when they go in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Because they say that, all the genocide are now in Congo. We have to push in Congo to take them and to kill them. Then they won't be able to come back in Rwanda. That's why they make this first war. And then you had the Kabila, the father of the former president, that was firstly allied to the Rwandans. They put him in the power. Then he said, okay, the deal is over. I won't give you the resources that you should have received. And they kill him with the US. And it was a deal with Angola as well, because at this moment, Savimbi died. It was exactly at the same moment, the US killed Savimbi and the Angolese killed Kabila.
Yeah.
And then the second war in Congo starts for now 25 years, and the Rwanda was involved. Because all of this mining, all the telephone, the cell phone.
Yeah, mining just.
Yeah.
And right now, is it at war as well?
Yeah, it's still continuing.
Civil war.
Yeah, in the eastern part, you have killed people all the time. 2 months ago, rangers for the Virunga, 17 of them were ambushed and killed by rebels in the park because they moved to help the community because they were attacked by the rebels, and the rebels did an ambush to the rangers and they killed
the rebels.
The rebels.
Yeah.
They killed 17 of them 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
With heavy weapon,
But the rebels are they fighting for the illegal mines? They're on the side of the poachers of the
Yeah. It's only because of resources. They are not there because of political issues or whatever. But some of them, they hide their rebellion through this religion, political issues or whatever. But it's only about mining, about resources, about money only. And most of the time, when you see the map of the rebels group, you overlap it with the map of the mines, and it's really matching. So where you have the mine, you have the rebels.
Yeah. You're making me really sad, man.
No,
is Africa screwed?
You know what is sad is Congo. No, it's 25 years of war. It's more than 6 million people dead. I mean that people like us, youngs, couldn't go to school, couldn't go to university. Yeah. They have seen their family killed, raped.
Yeah.
So yes, and me each day I'm using my telephone, I'm thinking about that, because all this touchpad stuff we are in the car, we are on telephone, computer, it's coming from there.
Yeah.
So we are.
It's the reason for the war.
Yeah, it's the real reason of the war.
Yeah.
And actually, the genocide in Rwanda was a kind of the keys to open the Congo. You know? So this rebellion from the Uganda, the Tutsi rebellion that came in 1990 to change the power in Rwanda before the genocide. Mm-hmm. The genocide came after, as a reaction of this war, And it was really to change the leadership of this area in Africa. And the idea was to move out Mobutu. And to move and to take care of this huge cake that is the Congo. Congo is you have everything. Yeah.
Natural resources, one of the richest countries in Africa.
Yeah, in the world. In the world, every mines, every mineral you are thinking about, you have there.
Yeah,
coppers, uranium, coltan, gold, diamond,
oil,
lithium, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like in Guinea, somehow where I am now. Guinea is the first exporter of bauxite. It's for aluminium, but the Chinese are really present there as well. But they are not only exporting bauxite. It's also silicium for the solar panel. It's also gold that's going away.
Yeah.
And what is really worse for Africa, it's the same for the mining or for the logging or for the fishery. There are no transformation.
Yeah.
So there are no employment there.
Yeah.
Just they sell the natural resources. Growth.
They're almost slaves in the mines to get the resources out, and then the resources are moved to other continents.
Exactly, and transformed there. And
they don't develop an economy. They don't develop a sector for building infrastructure, for manufacturing their own goods.
Exactly, nothing
that makes a developed country developed.
Because we want to keep them like this. That's why we make the war,
Yeah.
We foment the war. Because it's easier, to steal the goods after.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. And when you are... what is really uncommon in this situation is in Africa you are in touch of all these things, Here in Europe, corruption and so on exist, but you cannot see that.
Yeah.
There you see that in front of you, all the time. Like the violence, like the war, like the whatever. You have that in face all the day,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard. And yes, I had to see some psychologists time to time, to recover. But
I can imagine
those history.
Yeah. In Madagascar, I was on an island that
Yeah, Nosy. Yeah.
It's it's heavy. It's heavy. Because you get there and it's sort of like the world has been turned upside down in the dynamic of man, woman, and sex. So basically, you arrive there and you're a prize ticket. And everybody on the island wants you. And they're really happy you're there. They're going to be really nice to you, and they're going to do everything that you want. It's weird. It literally, I was there and I was thinking, this is what women must feel like normally. All the guys are off to her. They want to buy her lunch. They want to take her here. They want to make her feel good. And then, and then you start to understand, because when I went there, it was purely spearfishing. I had no idea that it was a sex tourism place. We're never on land. We're always on a boat. We're always in the water. I never see people. I don't know, So at first I got there and it's like, oh, this is weird. All the women, they'll want me. They'll after me. And then after a while, you start to see how the actual society is working and what's going on. And it's like, wow, this is sick.
It is sick.
There's problems here that are ours. This is Europeans coming over here and doing this.
Exactly.
This is
exactly.
And it took some, it takes a little bit of readjusting, and then you see the younger generations of the locals, and they're not particularly happy to see a white person anymore. Their girlfriend, they can be married and have kids. If a white guy shows up, she's leaving him. She'll leave her kids. She'll leave him. She'll leave the parents. She don't care. You got money? I'm coming with you. Doesn't matter. And to a black person living there, the sort of feeling that there's nothing you will ever do that will make you as good as a white person ever in that place.
And what type of white are coming there?
Exactly.
When you see those guys.
The worst.
Oh, yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
You know, we had our own skipper who was a local, really, really good, capable boatman, and we took him on all of our trips. And towards the end of the trip, you know, he'd come and he'd sit with me and talk, and he'd say, "I've never spoken to a white man like this." Like, what do you mean? We're just talking like you and I are now. Like, yeah, but white people don't talk to us. What do you mean don't talk? We're all, it doesn't matter. He's like, no, you don't get it. They're white people who come here. We're dogs. We're not humans. Yeah. We're monkeys, you know.
Definitely.
And you feel it when you talk to them. And they said, he was saying to me, you know, you're the first person I meet that sits down and asks me about my family. And asked me, you know, what are your dreams? You know, dreams? A black person doesn't have dreams. What are you talking about? It doesn't exist. You know, it was weird. It took some, you know, I grew up here. You know, Portugal is not the US or Sweden but
it's a good country.
It's a pretty amazing country. You know, we have a pretty good quality of life and very detached from what that reality is. You know, it's.
No, it's sad, And actually, you have that in Madagascar, but in other many places, you know. And this sex market is really something awful. You know, I still don't understand how men cannot control themselves, you know. And, as we discussed before, you know, the rape is so common. Do you think in our countries that is something that is rare or is completely savage and is not the normality? But when you go and travel around the world, you see that poor girls, all the time, you know, stressed by men. When you see in India this rapes, and even in France, you have a woman who is killed by his husband each day. You know, it's horrible. You know? Yeah. And in Guinea, for instance, also you have this sexual mutilation as well. You know.
Yeah, I've heard this. I'm sorry. I don't mean. I have a part comedian inside of me. Yeah. And I you know, I have a small joke about this that I want to ask. Like, I know female genital mutilation is a thing, and it is really horrible. And I really don't want to make fun of that. But is circumcision not the same thing?
No. Yeah, for us it's really light, you know.
Yes, but it is male genital mutilation.
Somehow,
let's say a very mild mutilation. But is it not like an old cultural thing that is really weird nowadays? We shouldn't be doing that anymore.
I think we do. We are not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, if you're born in a hospital, a doctor will ask you if you want circumcision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never did, and I won't.
No.
But for the ladies, it's worse.
But I'm sorry.
It's okay. There is really worse, and you have several types of mutilation. You know, some are really light, and it's just for saying that you are following the culture. Yeah. But others are really, really awful. You know, and you have severe traumatism after for the woman, and
it's forced, right?
Yeah, it's forced,
but it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, and it's from the Muslims. Yeah, and it's the woman, the old woman who's making that to the smallest one. It's not even the male, but the male are really smart because they are forcing the female to do that to other female. You know. Yeah,
but what is the idea? Is it they're not allowed to have pleasure, or
exactly?
It is.
It is for controlling them.
That's it. And it's a Muslim thing.
Not all Muslims are doing that.
No, of course.
Some in Africa.
But it comes from the Muslim religion, that practice.
Yeah. And so they remove the clitoris or just a part of it. They can even sew the
they sew it up,
Yeah, or they cut everything, you know, and it's going to be bolt everything. Yeah. It's awful.
And it's something that happens a lot.
All the time, all the day. It's in Guinea. It's more than 98% of the women that are
98% of the women in Guinea.
Yeah, It's only the new generation. When you see a woman that now is around 20, 21, 22, and she said that she never went to her village. She might be not be, touched because she escaped, but she lose all the culture from the village. She didn't see her grandparents, her grandmother, her uncle, because she's scared to go there because she knows
what they're gonna do. Yeah, but this is an old thing. They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. But even from Europe, some of the Guineans, time to time, they say, "Okay, come, we are going to visit the family. We go for this holiday to the village and so on and so forth."
And they do it,
and then do it, and the people are living in Europe, so they have they should have the idea of human right and whatever, No. So they even don't care about the way a daughter is going to suffer after that.
Again, it's a religious thing. Religion, once again.
Exactly. Once again.
And, I don't know. I've heard there, in Africa, it was difficult. They have really crazy conspiracy theories about the white man. But we've done really crazy shit to them.
Just for Congo, the Belgian government has agreed that we have killed 10 million Congolese people during the colonization. We agree on that.
Yeah.
10 million.
Yeah.
The French killed their own military soldiers in Senegal when they came back from the Second World War. They asked just for money. They bombed them.
Yeah.
In the camp of Tiaoé. In Madagascar, we made a really heavy war. In Cameroon, test war.
Yeah.
So no.
That's the thing is when they have, like, I was sitting there and this guy was telling me that white people put HIV in condoms. And I was looking at him with my eyes open like, what are you saying? But there are so many things that we've done that are worse than that there is nothing I can tell him to make him believe that one isn't true.
That's true. Yeah.
He's seen some messed up shit. When they talk about, we're going to have a coronavirus vaccine in the next year, I'm like, no, because I know what that means.
Exactly.
That means some poor village in Africa or Asia or somewhere nobody wants to visit, they're going to get tested.
Exactly.
And in turbo doses.
Exactly.
Against their will, against their knowledge, with no treatment for the symptoms that they get afterwards. It's
exactly what's happening. And today we have a vaccine for Ebola, for instance. It was tested in that way,
Of course.
After that, they did some good clinical test and whatever, as they are doing today, so they are still continuing the test.
Yeah.
But before that, when it was the urgence of having this vaccine, they have tested the people in the wild. And in Guinea, some of those doctors have been killed by the villager. Because when they see the cars of the doctor coming to the village, they knew that something strange are coming,
Yeah.
And I remember in Nigeria, it was more than 2,000 children that have died some years ago about a vaccine test. We are talking about 1,000 people. Yeah, I do agree. And even the chimps were massively tested. And the French, we had, and we still have a center for this type of test in Gabon. South Gabon at Franceville. We have a special center to test there.
To test drugs on animals.
Animals.
It's a complicated issue because you can't test humans, right? It's for a brand new drug that's never been tested. Who's going to volunteer, and do they really know what they're volunteering for? Can you test animals? It's a really complicated issue, because I'm happy that there's medicine. I'm happy that it works. If I have a serious issue, I want to be treated. But how do we get to that treatment without that? Without the involuntary admission of people in somewhere, or animal testing that's really, really horrible, or
really.
It's a
good question.
It's like you said with your cell phone. The Congo is being torn apart because of cell phone war for minerals, but we still use the cell phone. We still have it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to think in other way. I don't know. We have prisoners in Europe or everywhere. If we keep the killers or the rapers in the prison for decades because they cannot go out, why not testing those shit on them?
Yeah.
For example, we can think about
Yeah, they do test it. I was reading a book a couple of weeks ago about the CIA testing LSD trials on prisoners, on high security prisoners in the 60s and 70s, because it was when they first started coming out with LSD and when it went mainstream, and they wanted to test mind control abilities, and so that's what they started with. Cool. Prisoners, and then they set up a brothel. And people would go into the brothel, and the hookers would give them LSD, and mirror on the wall that people are behind studying you.
Wow.
And, crazy.
Yeah.
But they did with prisoners. The issue was always, prison in most countries is supposed to be a punishment. And not a rehabilitation. And I have a real serious problem with that, because I don't think people learn through punishment. I really don't.
No, I don't think so too.
I think if anything, they might get worse, and they'll resent you. They'll resent the system that put them there. They'll resent the people that oppress them, that punish them. Yeah. It's a whole load of energy that's directed in the wrong way.
Exactly.
Add to that, you have people going to jail for ridiculous things. I like to smoke marijuana. It's illegal. I can go to jail.
Basically,
for smoking a plant or eating it. So saying that I would want to test prisoners because they're these low-life criminals, you'd have to look at, what is a criminal? Because very easily I could be in that chair with them testing me, saying you're a low-life criminal. You're a prisoner. What are you talking about? Shut up. You don't get a choice. It's tricky.
But I believe that when you are in prisons, you don't have a choice.
No. Prison is the worst. Prison is the new slavery. Yeah. Literally. That they're putting people in jail for things that you shouldn't be in jail for. And then you have free labor. And you have free testing. You can test all of the scientific stuff on them. You can test all of the social, we found out what happens to a human if you lock him in a room with no contact because of prison. We know it's by far the worst torture you can do. Worse than pulling your nails out, worse than any physical pain that you can put a person through. Lock them in a dark room by themselves with nobody to talk to for a week. That's it. Torture.
It is definitely.
Yeah. But we learn a lot about the human social experiment, with these things that you wouldn't be allowed to do to somebody who's supposed to be free, right? Yeah,
there are no human rights anymore.
Yeah. This is where I come to the point where I want to tear my clothes off and go and live in the bush. But then I get angry because I hear what you're telling me, and the bush is being invaded by people like us.
But we have to fight for this paradise,
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a real fight. It's a real war.
Definitely. This has been my issue for, since I was saying with the NGOs that it's difficult to know what to trust. What if you have an honest NGO? What can a normal person do? Like me. Let's say I want to help. I can't volunteer necessarily. I can't go to Africa, but I can send some money maybe, or clothes, or how do I even find the right NGO to help?
Wow, this is a real difficult question to answer. Actually, first, I believe that it's needed to networking a lot.
Network.
Because in each country you have some structure that are taking care about the NGOs.
Yeah.
And especially in countries where you have war, you have a special office from UN. It's called OCHA, that is really managing all and following all the NGOs. So you can have a list of all the NGOs that are registered for each country. But after that, you have to seek for their references and to look on their results and impacts,
Yeah.
And it's only when you see their impacts and results on the field that you can know that it's a good one or not,
Yeah.
I'm not trusting NGO on papers, because they are really good for communication. It's really when you see what they have built directly on the field that you can say that they are good or not,
Yeah.
And especially sometimes it's a small one, I know a lady that I work with in Guinea. She's a French lady, and she has opened an NGO in Togo, taking care about one school. But it's now 20 years that the school is running. They have a lot of results. Some of the students went in Europe for the universities and so on. So you don't need a big WWF or Red Cross or whatever. Most of them are not trusting them.
Yeah.
But the smallest one, like mine, the Wild Chimps Foundation, is really a small one, but really oriented to impact. My boss has made his career on chimpanzee research, and he wants to give back to the chimpanzee, just to protect them, and nothing else counts.
You worked with elephants as well, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Awesome, even the smell when you are in the forest, you don't need your eyes, it's really your ears and your nose that you are using.
Yeah.
And just the pee or the smell of the elephant, you can recognize that they were just around,
Yeah.
And when they chase you, you have to run quickly.
They're faster than you.
They are faster, and then you have to turn, and to hide yourself behind trees.
And they knock trees out the ground, right?
Depend the size.
The tree,
yeah. But they are really powerful, but they are friendly, I've been many times at 2-3 meters of an elephant, and we don't care of me, If he feels that you are not a threat, he won't do anything to you, But once I had to, with the rangers, to save the elephant because they were killed by poachers, and we had to walk 4 kilometers in the forest by night with a torch and lamps because the poacher could shoot us.
Yeah.
And then the elephant gets scared and they chase us.
Yeah. They don't know if you're poachers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And by night it was just scary. you run, you don't know where they are. You don't know.
Do you hear the footsteps?
No.
Nothing.
It's really light. But you hear them shouting, when they shout, it's really...
They shout, the elephants.
Yes. Whoa, with the trump,
Yeah.
It's really lovely.
Wow.
But when they run, you don't feel it. It's really light.
But you hear like the bushes and the trees snapping branches.
Yeah, a lot. But the worst animal that make me really scared in the forest is the gorilla. The gorilla, everything is shaking. The hair, the soil, the forest is so powerful, It's really impressive.
Are they dangerous?
Well,
they can be, but normally, if you're going through the jungle,
no. But they might go toward you, and they have this kind of phase that they are showing their strengths, just to scare you, and then they move back, It's really weird, and they go and attack you. Is when you have a poacher who want to kill the baby or rape the baby or whatever. Yeah, I've heard many stories that gorilla can be really strong at this moment. They can even take a dog and open it by strength, Yeah. So yes, you don't have to play with them. It's happened to me once in Cameroon, but it was not our fault. We were walking beside a river. And the female and the baby were on the tree. It was the morning. The male is sleeping down. So he came to us to say, okay, we are there. Don't go further. Then he moved back. We came. The ladies came down from the trees, but they forgot the baby. So when we arrived on the roots of the tree, the baby was on the tree still. Yeah. And then I tried to take a picture. Then the male just appeared on my back. Yeah. And I I didn't look where I just crossed the spears of the pygmy, ran toward the river, shaking. It was really impressive, and hopefully the baby didn't say any sounds, just take another branch, another tree, go down. If he was screaming or whatever,
someone would die.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And whenever you're in the jungle, whenever you're doing any sort of work, you always have pygmies with you?
But depend if they are in the countries or in the place where I'm working. But if they are and if they are available, yes, I'm trying. I'm trying to work.
Best bushman ever.
Yeah.
And they like that? They like taking you and showing you? And
Depend. Some are really dedicated, and others really don't care, The biggest mission I did with pygmies, it was more than 2 months in the forest with them in South Cameroon.
Wow.
Is where I cut my hands and so on. And
you spent 2 months in the jungle with them?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's where we saw this witch as well, when we had this Ebola ceremony. And
tell us that story again. That's crazy. It's really crazy.
Yes, actually we were four, 2 pygmies, an eco guard and I. We had to do a biomonitoring for 2 national parks, Bumbabek and Ki. Mm-hmm. And
so you're taking stock of what's biologically available, the animals,
the forest,
the plants, everything.
Yeah. And it was already 2 or 3 days that the pygmies were saying that we are following nomad groups, but it's only them that they see the signs. It's really elusive. It's really difficult.
You don't see anything.
No, nothing. And one day they came back us because they are always in front. They're like scouts. So they go out ahead and you slowly behind, and they come back and tell you. Exactly. And they came back. They were gray, no more black. They were gray. Because of the fear. And,
really?
Yeah. And they were really stressed, and they shout a lot with the ranger, explaining that we couldn't be there. It's a really bad place, and we didn't understood why. And so they brought us to this special tree. It's called a fromager, Saiba, Pentandera. It's really everywhere in Africa. These trees are linked to treasure, to witch, to ancestral. So
you have the rape tree. What was the other one? The adultery tree.
Yeah.
And now you have this one that's
the witch tree.
The witch tree.
Yeah. And then you had we found this dead pygmies that was put between 2 roots, because you have these big roots coming from the trees, and it was hiding there, already eaten a bit by the animals from the forest. And actually, the pygmies, they are burial their death. But because this one was really bad, and I understood that it was a kind of witch, they wanted his soul in the tree, that the soul cannot follow the groups and continue to hunt them. Yeah. So they put in him there on the tree, that his soul will be attached to this tree. But we shouldn't have seen that, So we walked a lot. It was already a late afternoon, so we had to walk a lot.
Get away from there.
To get away. And when we arrived in a special place, they have already prepared this Ebola ceremony. It was
for cleansing or what?
Yeah, with the Jenge spirit of the forest. So they took big leaves around them, and they start to dance and to sing with the Ebola, and then they see what they see, to clean a bit the forest and to clean their soul as well.
Wow.
It was amazing.
So this pygmy was killed by the other pygmies?
No, I think he was naturally died, and then instead of burial it,
they thought he was a witch.
Yeah.
But because of something he had done, or
he should have been a bad man in the groups. Yeah. He should have done many bad things, and they took the opportunity. He was there.
He's a witch.
Go to the tree. But you have, many kids in Africa, when the man is getting to have a second wife, or the first wedding is over, or they are getting divorced and so on. The second wife, most of the time, because she wants to keep the money of the couple for her kids, are saying that the kids of the first lady are witch, are whatever, and then after that the men have to chase it, and then you find them in the street, and they are there in the street, It's really a huge trouble in the big city in Africa.
Because the children of the first wife are witches.
Yeah.
And the husband abandons them.
Yeah. They even kill people just because they are thinking that
you're a witch.
Yeah. It happened to me once in Central Africa. I had to go in the field of the father of my gardener, because his neighbor has killed him because they thought that he was transforming an elephant and eating their crops, because his field wasn't touched, But they killed him,
So, since all the fields were touched except for his, they thought he was transforming into an elephant and going and eating the neighbors.
And they killed him. They decapitated.
They decapitated him.
We didn't find back the head.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah. That was a weird thing. In Madagascar, we were on the island, and we were there in July. And the elections were coming up in September. And the few black guys who are friends of ours, they were like, you have to leave before the election.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's an election. Like, no, you have to leave. Mm-hmm. Because if it goes wrong, we decapitate the white people. Why? We don't know. We just do it. We're angry at someone. You're not great. Why not? You go first. The white man's oppression. Chop off their heads.
No, election in Africa is never good.
Yeah.
We will have in Guinea, for instance, the presidential election in October.
Yeah.
Actually, the president is going for a third mandate. He has changed the constitution.
Oh, so he was only allowed 2 and he's changed it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Another dictator.
Yeah. And for sure, he's going to have some riots and some deaths there, For sure.
This is Guinea-Conakry.
Guinea-Conakry, yeah. And actually, this man was the opposite during more than 30 years to the dictator.
Yeah.
He has Kouchner as a friend. He has many friends in Europe. But they are there, huh? They have their mind there.
Yeah, they have their minds, of course.
Yeah, you imagine?
Yeah. I have a question. Mm-hmm. I heard this about somebody who spent some time in the Congo, about looking for a dinosaur in the Congo. Is this real?
Yeah, it's real.
It's real?
Yeah.
But is the dinosaur real, or do people really go look for it?
The people looking for it. Actually, it's not. It's Congo Brazzaville. It's really an interesting place. It's northeast Congo, Brazzaville. It's called the Lac Télé. Is a really round lake in the middle of the forest, really huge. And he was looking for the Mokelembembe. And actually, Mokelembembe is a kind of god for the pygmies. And when they describe it, is a kind of rhinoceros.
Sorry.
A water rhinoceros.
Sorry, it's a rhinoceros.
But it's how they describe it, it's an animal that's living in the water, and actually they have this Mokelembembe spirit also in Central Africa, North Congo, so it's really around the place, and it could be.
I'll pull this here to you.
It could be a kind of a new Loch Ness, a kind of animal that have been trapped there.
Yeah,
and actually, when you know the dynamic of the forest in Africa, 20,000 years ago there were less forests there, and you had forest in the Sahara, for instance.
Yeah.
And for instance, in the middle of the Chad, in the north of the Chad, nearby the Libyan border, so in the middle of the Sahara, you have a place called Enedi. It's marvelous, and there you have some caves in the desert where you still have some crocodiles.
I heard about this. That's right.
So
in the middle of the desert.
Exactly. And in the middle of the forest of the Congo, in the Odzala National Park, they had some savannas inside. And less than 10 years ago, you still have some lions there.
Yeah.
In the middle of the forest. So I really believe that we can have a rhinoceros trapped in the middle of the forest, and the pygmies were in contact with him.
Yeah.
And then the rhino went to those lakes, because there are many lakes there, and they called it Mokelembembe.
Yeah.
And this man was looking after him, but he never saw.
He never saw him.
No.
But the pygmies will talk about it.
Yes, they are still, but it's kind of a god for them.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yeah.
But I believe that if he was existing, he's not existing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. But usually those mystical creatures come from something that did inspire the legend.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It did come from something. But I had heard that, and apparently it's a popular thing for some people. I'm going into the Congolese jungle.
Yeah. And actually, on the other side of Congo, you have also a lot of mystical stuff there.
Yeah.
And on the South Kindu, so it's almost at the end of the Congo River, close nearby to the springs, you have the Hell Gate.
Mm.
It's a place that even if you go to internet, there are no pictures.
Hell's Gate.
Yeah, and nobody can go there because it's full of rebellions, a triangle of death, because you have cannibals there, and nobody's going there.
Really?
Yeah, still. But the leader of those cannibals, Gédéon, have been killed months ago. So maybe it's going to be better. But nobody's going there. So it's really something that when you read from the Belgium, all the colonial period, there were already some mystical history around that place, and still today.
Yeah.
When I'm talking with my friend from Congo, because I'm really curious about that story, they don't want to speak about
about
that place, because they don't know, and they are scared about.
Yeah, it's superstitious. Yeah, that's one of the things about Africa is you get there and you do get the sense that it's old, and the people, they're way more energetically in tune. Let's say that way. Yeah. And it's easy for us to get there with our city mentality, like witch doctor and spirits and people in the trees, but. Empirically speaking, I think there's way more to what they're saying than what we're saying.
I agree. Just for instance, in the national park I'm helping to create in Guinea, we have made a lot of historical analysis of the population, socioeconomic analysis, and so on. And we have mapped a lot of sacred forests. Mm-hmm. And I went inside some of them. And really, I felt the energy inside,
Yeah.
And when you are talking with the people, they say, "No, yes, we had to fight with the devil to install the village, so we locked the devil there."
Yeah.
And once, because I know the trees, and as we discussed before, when you understand the nature around you, you understand where you are going.
Yeah.
And I remember that place because it was a spring. Really locating in the roots of a tree that is the worst poison you can find in Africa. And all the forest around, it was just for that tree. So they really know that this is a devil place, Yeah. And they cannot touch the water. They have to take it on a bucket, and then they go outside. You cannot go with your shoes. And really, when I went inside that place, I felt an energy,
Where is this?
In Guinea.
In Guinea.
Yeah. But even from my father, many times in his office, in his house in France, he has brought back some artifact from Africa.
Yeah.
And some of them, sometimes makes me uncomfortable,
Yeah.
Really.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
It's
like with chalk. It's the same. That there is something, but you cannot say what type of things.
Yeah.
And once, really, I had to leave the house, I had to leave the house. I really felt that, yes, there was someone there, looking after me from Africa,
Yeah. Especially when you've been to Africa and you've seen some of these faces, then you start to get a different, you start to see shit.
Yeah.
You start to think, oh, well, there's,
Yeah.
There's more to it than just saying,
no, there are more.
Stupid monkey people.
No, as you say, they are more tuned with all this energy.
Yeah.
And as they said, when you go into the forest, if you are okay with yourself, your conscience, your family, you won't have any problem there.
Yeah.
If you go in the forest with troubles, you will get a lot of trouble. And I have seen that with my brother, Once he came to visit me in Central Africa, he was all the time when we came into the forest chased by the elephant. And the pygmies told me that, he has a trouble. And it was the case. He has a trouble with his wife, He was with a bad energy inside, And the animal felt that.
Yeah. But I think, I see it with people where they start to do things and their mind goes a certain way, and then it just gets worse and worse. Like you're walking and you stub your toe. Yeah. You hit your toe on the corner of the wall. It's like, and then you go, and then you get angry, and then you hit the table and your hand's hurting, and then you're going, why? Exactly. And then you go to the car and the car doesn't start. And it's like, but it's the mental energy space that you're in, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That creates this.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I like to go to Pachi Pony because this relation with the horse is really like that. Yeah, and I've seen that last time with Zion. I came to Zion, I was not feeling good in myself, a lot of stress. Yeah. And he was the worst partner at this time. We couldn't do anything together. It doesn't work. No. Because I wasn't good in myself,
Yeah. Horses is awesome for that because it's just like surfing in that aspect. It's interesting. It's about flow. The horse is in flow. The wave is in flow. And your difficulty getting into flow is that you're not in that moment. You're in your head. You're up here. You're letting all of those things, your mind is spinning. It's going thousands of revolutions, and you're not allowing yourself to relax. Yeah. And to feel rather than think. Exactly. To feel the movement and to be a part of it. Exactly. Than to manipulate it and use your strength and force it into what you want. Which is what I feel is probably what they're talking about in the jungle, where you're going there like, I'm going in the jungle. Machete in the hand and whack it, and then, the first branch hits you in the face.
And then you get wasp or snakes or whatever.
And then people with Buddhism, especially people don't know much about Buddhism, will say, it's karma. That's not karma to me. Karma doesn't mean that. It means your head. Exactly. It's your energy. Yeah. It's the way that you're putting out the energy, the energy that you're controlling. Exactly. Is interacting with the energy around you. And that's it. And it can change, a second. You change your mind, change your energy.
Exactly. And the way to change, we come back to that, is breathing.
It's so silly. It's so simple.
It's so simple,
Why do they not teach us these things?
I don't know. Really, it's a good question. We should have a 1 hour or 2 hour a week at school to know how to breathe. Yeah. But actually in Brazil, they are doing that at school. They have yoga teachers. Yeah, they have yoga teachers, in Brazil, but maybe not everywhere in every school. I don't know.
In Brazil, I doubt it. I think yoga teacher sounds like something for the more private schools that Brazilians.
I think so. Yeah, I've heard that once in Aracaju.
Yeah, that was I was talking to a Brazilian friend now during Corona, and everybody was criticizing. Oh, Brazil's not doing anything. They're not locking up. They're not. And I've been to Brazil a lot. I know I know a little bit of it. It's a huge place, but I know it well enough to where it's just like Africa. It's like, oh, Corona. Oh, that's nice. What else is new?
Yeah, exactly. We have many other stuff there.
Yeah, and she said the best phrase ever. She said, what is a fart to somebody who's already shit themselves? Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought it was because and just like India now, there's millions of cases. I mean, if you have 1 billion people living in below poverty line, what exactly, in Brazil, in Africa, they wake up in the morning and they need to find food.
Exactly.
They need to find water. and then they need to come home again.
Exactly.
You know?
So you are going to ask them to stay at home.
You know, that starving is definitely going to kill you.
Yeah.
Corona, probably not.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Malaria, probably going to kill you. HIV, probably going to kill you. Ebola, probably going to kill you. You know, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and the car accident, and whatever is killing more people than COVID actually today. You know,
exactly. Yeah. But the outrage of us modern civilized world looking at Africa, going, "How dare Corona is going to kill your grandmother?" You're going, I don't have one. She's been dead for 50 years.
Exactly.
I need to survive. I just need food.
That's true. It's only the rich people that are able to stay at home.
Yeah.
And I know some people, especially in Aracaju, you know, and she's now 6 months at home, you know, because she's from a rich family. Mm-hmm. So she can work at home and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But most of the people are not like that.
And you know, for like our boatman, he has a little bit of money. He could stay home for a couple of months if he wanted to, but he's still very poor. But Corona is no more serious than the other million things trying to kill him that day. It's just one more.
Exactly.
And in comparison to the others, it's not that bad. It really isn't, you know. He has way worse things to worry about. And we were talking to him about Corona. It's like, there's no Corona here, you know. What? You don't even have tests in Europe. Everybody's getting tested here. Yeah, somebody died last week. Somebody dies every week.
Exactly.
Nothing's new. Africa is Africa. Come on over.
I totally agree with you, you know. But we make things a bit worse than it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe there is something behind, but we don't know.
Arnaud,
yes,
it's been a lot of fun.
Yes,
shall we close up for today?
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having you on here. It's been really interesting, and I'm going to want to have you back again
whenever you want. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Cheers.